Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I think I'm meeting most of you for the first time, so sorry for no camera today. Not feeling great, actually. Probably have COVID, but so I'm not presentable for the camera. But hopefully next week maybe we'll be back up and running. So welcome to our class. Obviously this week we're going to be reviewing kind of some content from last week, a little bit from this week. I do this each week, obviously not in week one, but to go over the quiz questions, any of the ones that were missed. So you'll have this type of video each week, and I think some of my colleagues, their full-time colleagues, do this as well, or something similar, maybe in a written format, etc. So I'm Dr. Harrington. It's nice to meet everybody that I've not met in the past, and happy to be working with you. Up until just last fall, I actually was full-time faculty there at RMU. Moved to during the pandemic, moved to Florida. My husband took a position at a university down here, so now I teach part-time for RMU. Actually, just tomorrow I start a new position at a university here in the area in administration. So I will be with you throughout the term. My daytime availability is going to become much more slim starting tomorrow, but I'm obviously available throughout the week as you have questions or comments or need some additional information for anything in our class. So this past week was really just kind of give you an overview of strategic management. So there was a time, for those of you that have been in healthcare for some time, or are familiar with the process, there was a time when strategy and strategic planning was an activity that a facility did once every few years, and that was it. Like it was just an activity. There was typically a director of planning, and that was their full-time job, was to manage these strategic plans, etc. And now we've really shifted into a world of strategic management. So instead of one person being responsible for planning and it being done only once every few years, with that one person really just maintaining the plan and updating goals, etc. Now it's really a full-time activity for anyone in the facility, from the folks that are implementing it on the ground to folks planning up in the C-suite and everyone in between. So it's really more about constant strategic thinking, strategic management, reaching for goals, updating goals, changing them as times change, etc. So hopefully you got the kind of the gist of that over the week. We will see lots of videos throughout. This company here, this virtual strategist, they do awesome work with regard to videos, and rather than me recreating videos that exist, I've tried to use quite a few of theirs. But some folks prefer to read and learn. Some folks prefer to watch videos and learn. It all depends on your learning format and the way you prefer to learn. But so I like to include those. You'll see that woman's face quite a bit throughout our class. You'll see some older ones where she is a bit older, and some more recent ones as well. I'm assuming everyone was able to manage the Flipgrid okay. I know I talked to a couple folks, but I think probably you're familiar with the Flipgrid from some of the other courses. Starting in this week, week 2, you'll just see a link you can click. It'll actually appear, the Flipgrid itself will appear in the classroom. For the first week, I always put the actual URL because people tend to find that easier when they're first getting started. So this coming week, week 2, we will be talking about understanding, analyzing the environment, external environmental analysis, huge part of any strategic planning process. And strategy and marketing are really tied at the hip. And so that's why we teach planning and marketing together. External environmental analysis, internal environmental analysis, competitive analysis, all of these types of things we do from a strategy standpoint when we're trying to create new goals, figure out where we need to go to improve our business, but we also do that from a marketing standpoint. So that's why we kind of teach the two of them together in the class, and because they really are hand in hand. So this week we're going to look at that external environmental analysis. So always think about when we're doing that external analysis, we're looking at opportunities and threats in the marketplace. If you think about a SWOT analysis, which you probably are familiar with from prior classes or prior coursework in undergrad. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Those strengths and weaknesses are your internal environment. So that's the internal environmental analysis. Opportunities and threats are our external environment. So we're going to be kind of focusing on those bottom squares of the SWOT analysis today or this week throughout. I also have given you some templates and strategic plans. I gave you a sample project because I know we're only in week 2, but these 8 weeks go incredibly fast, actually 7 because the final project's due in week 7. So they go very, very fast. I just want you to start to think about that final project, and one of our assignments this week is to submit that topic. So what you'll be doing for your final project is developing a strategic business plan for something. So it could be a new product, a new service. It could be a new division in your facility, could be a new clinic, whatever it is that you're interested in, some type of new product or service. It could be for a place that you work. It could be a place that you used to work. It could be someplace that you want to work when you're done with your program. So we don't necessarily need tons of detail this week, but I want you to select a topic so that you can start to do some research and get that rolling. I will provide some feedback on it. Remember, this is a strategic business plan, so take a look. I'll scroll back up here. Take a look at some of these things. Make sure you're choosing something that you can create a plan around. Sometimes I have folks try and create like a quality improvement plan. That's not what we're looking for here. We want you to choose, hey, here's something new or different that we want to do in our facility. Here's our plan to move toward that. Here's how we're going to market it. Those types of things. So make sure that you're choosing something that can meet all of those requirements of the strategic business plan. We also have our discussion about changes in the healthcare environment. We have our assignment. In your textbook, there is a stakeholder map. An example, I want you to develop a stakeholder map for a healthcare organization in your area. So if you're in the Pittsburgh area, maybe you work at UPMC or AHN, you can choose them, or maybe you work at a payer or a vendor or whatever it might be. Everyone, every situation has stakeholders. So choose something healthcare wise. If you're not working in healthcare, just choose a healthcare organization. And try to create this map, kind of mimicking what is in the textbook. Some people choose to draw it, and that's fine because it's easier. You can create it in a PowerPoint slide, however it is that you need to create it or want to create it. You could create it in a one of the infographic type programs like Venngage or Pictochart or something like that. It doesn't need to be fancy. I'm looking for the information. So that's the important key there. Then obviously our final topic. We have a quiz this week, as we do every week, and then this Ed puzzle will appear right here in the bottom. So that's what we've got for this week. So let's take a look at our quiz questions from last week and go over a few of these to see where things went awry. So first question, thinking that focuses on introducing new, better, or different breakthroughs is, and our answer here is innovative thinking. So think about, when you think of someone that is really good at providing new exciting ideas, or when you see a company that's really, kind of bringing new things to market, etc. That's innovation. So innovative thinking is all about thinking outside of the box and introducing new and better things there. So our correct answer was innovative thinking. Strategies are long range in nature, and thus the time span is the principal focus of strategic planning. And this is false. You could certainly have short-term strategy. And oftentimes, if you have an organization that has created a strategic plan, maybe a 5-year plan or something of that nature, keep in mind that there are going to be some goals within that are probably within 6 months, a year, 2 years, and then kind of the big fat hairy goals that are at the end for the 5-year portion of the plan. So keep in mind that it's not always long range. It can be short range, especially when we think about the changes that have had to occur in healthcare throughout the pandemic. That didn't really accommodate long range strategy. We needed to deal with it in a shorter time frame. So in that realm, we're really dealing with those short time frames, short term strategy. Next question. The use of systems perspective requires strategic managers to, correct answer is define the organization in broad terms, identify the variables and interrelationships that will affect decisions. So think about systems, systems perspective, systems thinking, and it's really about thinking about how everything interrelates with one another. So many times, and I'm sure if any of you that have worked in a hospital, you'll see where upper administration will make a decision, and that decision significantly impacts the folks on the ground, boots on the ground, folks working on units or in clinics or wherever it might be, and it doesn't work. Like they're not thinking about the system. They're thinking about this is a good decision to make for for our bottom line or for our processes or whatever, not realizing how it will negatively impact the organization. So it's really important that you think about define that organization in broad terms, and then what are those interrelationships that will impact decision making. Any decision that you make in a healthcare organization is going to impact others. So just always be systems thinking defines that always. Those relationships are so important. Next question. Strategic management is not. So we have several options: quick fix for organizations with problems, process of completing paperwork, process of extending organizations' current activities. So it is not any of those things. So our answer for this particular question is all of the above. And it's important to realize that it's not strategic management. Strategic thinking is really about that innovation. How can we become better, new, novel ideas moving forward, being visionary, thinking forward into the future. It's not something that's a quick fix or writing a plan and putting it in paper and putting it on a shelf, or just saying, okay, yeah, we really like the way this unit is operating, so we're going to continue to do that. None of that is really around strategy or strategic management. Strategic management is going to be more focused on making things better for the future. And that's all I've got. So if you have any questions as you're working through here, please just let me know as you're, wrong week, there we go. If you have any questions as you're working through, please let me know. But give some serious thought to your final topics. And if as you get working on them throughout the class, you find you want to tweak it or change it a little bit, that's not a problem. Just let me know and we can talk through it. I'll provide you feedback on your final topic suggestions or your final topic submissions after this week. I typically do grading throughout the week, and I don't start grading. I know some of my colleagues grade throughout the week for the current week. I don't do that. I tend to start grading once the week is over, so grading will start on Monday and continue throughout the week depending on what we have for the week. So if you're ever wondering, where your grade is or whatever, just let me know. But you'll see it within the week following the week at hand. So right now, I'll be grading week 1 this week. We didn't have a ton last week, but that's how that'll typically work. So any questions, let me know. Email, text, call. I'm happy to help out, and we can set up an appointment if you want to meet in the classroom as well. So thanks so much. Everyone have a great week.